Hello and salam alaikum, alaikum salam. I pray you guys are having a great night. We're gonna read here something very short on Palo Monte Mayombe. Uh, so the philosophical roots of Palo Monte Mayombe. The philosophical roots of Palo Monte Mayombe. Here we go, guys. Before fully addressing the essential concept of Palo Monte Mayombe, a religion that emerged in Cuba from the mixture of Bantu slaves of diverse ethnic groups and origins, and introducing the reader to the ins and outs of its philosophy as they have come down to us. Come down to us. And it makes necessary a contextualization within Bantu thought, let's say traditional and the main Afro Cuban practices, for a better understanding of the current scheme existing in the Creole praxis that is proposed in this work. The Bantu in general, and the Bakongo in particular, experience the surrounding world in what I have called two natures, the visible nature and the invisible nature. This is the so because of his own concept of the world, his social laws, taboos, religions, myth, and legends. In short, all the components of his society have to them an intrinsic triplicity in the existential theme, concrete, and in the meaning. For the Bantu, the tree is not only a tree, but in addition to being a plant, it is a plant being that has magical powers, properties, or functions that make it the possessor of Mpungo, or a cosmic force in possession, repository of magical powers, and in turn, there among its branches, its trunks, or its roots, live beings that go to look for its shadow, to strengthen themselves, or simply rest. Crying, laughter, or anger are not simply a display of emotions, but can also be a manifestation of that force, and can have another meaning, or could be a warning that goes beyond one's own emotional facts. Understanding this Bantu world, which encompasses all the manifestation of its daily life and its objective and subjective cosmological universe, is the main argument of this book. Visible nature is divided into what I have defined as spheres of reality. Within these spheres, there is one that is called space time event. This is where all the events of the life of the Bantu take place. The space time event has a unique character. That is, there is a unique space time event reality for each individual, because each person lives their own reality. In addition to that, there is a common space time event for a family, and in turn, this runs through another for the ethnic group, and thus space time events are superimposed for everything inhibited, invisible, and nature. The visible nature of the Bantu is what each person sees, feels, hears, imagines, or dreams, and this definition also encompasses everything that has a story and can be told, whether animal, plant, mineral, spiritual. In the Bakongo belief, the idea is widespread, not without nuances, that everything existing in the visible nature has its analog in the invisible nature, and the event in one run parallel to the events in the other. Everything in inextricably and necessarily connected, and at the same time, everything that exists is interrelated and dependent on each other. This union force could be called Numen force, often associated with the shadow. For the Bantu, as we will see later, there is not a single type of spirituality in the Western sense of the term, but rather its meaning, in addition to being diverse, is constantly defined. Among the forces that unite these two natures are the Minkisis, plural Inkisi, which are defined as primary energies of nature, which cannot be destroyed or modified, but can be manipulated by the Bantu. read human beings to magical or medicine purposes. For the Bakongo, the visible is not only summarized in what we see, but rather encompasses sensations, smell, flavors, sounds, and what we dream or imagine. Everything that is seen or perceived by any method, or everything that can be defined with any form whatsoever exists and is part of a, let's say, conscious reality. All of the above is what makes up their material environment, the infinda of the Cuban Ngangulero, an environment that has its own unique life. Visible nature is animated and supported by those Newman forces with which there is an ancestral connection. Each mineral, vegetable, animal, thought of dream is unique and has a meaning and purpose that in some case is easy to interpret and in others requires magical procedures of the Nganga and Kisi priests, but in both cases are totally understandable and influenceable processes. In his singular world of the visible, for the Bakongo, all existing things have a name, which means that they have personality, whether passive, when they do not have entu and endinga, or active, which are what entu and endinga. Although this personality is not completely known, since they can hide qualities that are only revealed to certain beings of the same level. Salam alaikum, alaikum salam. Didn't want to make the video too long. Have a great night. Okay, let's read that part again. Although this personality is not completely known, since they can hide qualities that are only revealed to certain beings of the same level. Cognitive, for example, animals talk to each other. Trees communicate with each other. Rivers, mountains, and natural phenomena transmit information between themselves and to other beings. Furthermore, all existing things have feminine, masculine, or both genders, as well as positive, negative, or neutral polarities, dynamic or static energy, principles, and language. That is, they can express themselves, understanding by expressing themselves, the forms, colors, sounds, flavors, all of this as a form of language. But there is even more invisible nature. Each thing is cataloged by what I call essential levels of what is the same. Some things are superimposed on others to the extent that they can be influenced more easily, or that they are intervened with more relevance in their environment. And there is the human person, the Bantu, who deserves a separate explanation. The interaction of nature is better understood if we think that for them. The interaction of nature is better understood if we think that for them. Trees communicate with each other. There are taboos against cutting or damaging some trees because they would warn the poisonous snakes that protect them, and they will come to their aid to defend them. Or they would warn other trees and animals of our presence so that they would escape from our sight. Some taboo animals have the same quality, and hunting them it can bring with it that his spirit pursues us to torment us in dreams as punishment. Some animals know the language of rain and rising rivers. Others predict good or bad harvests. This is how they understand the visible world, giving personality to rivers, seas, and the atmospheric phenomena. The universe of the invisible has supremacy over the visible, not only because they perceive it as something mysterious, surprising, unpredictable, and intangible, but also because they are incapable of acting directly on that environment. They do not see it nor smell it, nor they dream. They cannot even imagine it, and only through the appropriate inkisi, the link of union between two natures, can it be influenced. That is to say, it is an environment that can only be accessed through magic, and this possibility is reserved only for initiated priests or Ngangankisis, hence the great importance that the Bakongo give to this character, when sometimes it reaches the category of sacred and is considered essential for the survival of society. Finally, the invisible constitutes the essence of things, this intrinsic world, and even more, their true significance. In the middle In the middle of both worlds is the human being who possesses the power of invisibility, acquired when he goes to the right of. We will continue on the next reading. Salam alaikum, malaikum salam.